Adventures is sponsored by Burris Optics. Find what matters. CVA, it's just a better gun. Bergara, a passion for precision. Steiner Binoculars. Camo Restore, innovative wash for your outerwear. And by the new DeLorme InReach SE and Explorer. Stay safe, stay in touch, stay in reach.
That first evening with Hunter, I decided that we'd approach the meadows, the rutting grounds from the east. I wanted to keep that southwest wind in our face. And as we got closer and closer, I could hear a bull in bugling behind the pond. There's a great pocket back there that they like to rut in. And there wasn't a lot of cover, but we used what few trees there were, and we got in pretty close.
Pretty soon a couple cows came out, another cow, and then out steps this amazing 6-point. Just perfectly symmetrical. You can't find something wrong on him. And he's like maybe 120 yards broadside, not moving.
We could hear this bull bugling. He wasn't super hot, but he was hot enough that we thought we needed to take a look at him. And we were fighting the daylight a little bit. We got to the edge of the meadow and got a good look at this bull, and there was a lot of discussion that ensued.
I'm sitting there looking at this bull through my scope, but I've also got the picture of Super 7 engraved in the back of my mind. Sitting there listening, I hear my dad and Steve going back and forth. My dad's going, he needs to shoot the bull, and Steve's going, no, he doesn't. And that's going on. I'm laying there on the ground thinking, I don't know what to do.
It's a bull that I definitely would have shot. Hunter was pretty fixated on another bull that he had heard rumors of.
I passed up on this bull, and he was truly a gorgeous bull. I would have been very, very happy with him, but me being the way I am, I wanted to get that one bull that I had my mind set on.
In the end, we allowed that bull to walk off and went after the bull that Hunter had been talking about for days.
The hunters are back the next morning, looking for Super 7. And while that morning's hunt was slow, they had no idea what lay in store for them that evening.
The next evening, we approached from the east. I wanted to keep a southwest wind in our face as we moved in on the rutting grounds, down on the meadows.
We heard the bull bugling. It was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I believe, when we got up there. And Steve knew exactly where the bull was. We just needed to work the winds correctly to get in to what we figured was going to be a safe distance to make a good shot on him.
As we got closer and closer, I could hear this bull bugling back behind the ponds. So I decided that we would just pick our way in there, use what few trees there were as cover, and close the distance and get up on the edge of these meadows.
Just started, creeping, not even creeping, we were inching through the little cover that we had, trying to figure out where he was.
I could see a lot of cows, and then I heard a big bugle. There's only one bull with a harem this size on the ranch, and I knew that we had moved in close on Super 7. I couldn't see him at first. I could just see the cows, and they were moving to our left, so I knew it wasn't going to be long before he made an appearance. This is a moment I'd been waiting all summer for, and I could feel my heart beating out of my chest.
It was a little bit of chaos because he was trying to keep his pretty large group of cows in a very tight group.
We were sitting there and we had his cows in front of us at about 60 yards, and he steps out and he's standing there broadside. Look through my scope, I get settled, I squeeze the trigger. And I flat out miss him. Not kind of miss, remotely miss, just flat out totally missed this bull that I had an obsession of for close to a month.
And the last thing I remember seeing was that bull going into the reprod with his big rack at a full gallop.
This is a kid that shoots a lot, practices a lot. He's dedicated to the craft. But I can tell you right now, after watching a replay, I know exactly what he was looking at when he pulled the trigger.
if you watch it slow enough and close enough, you do. It's almost like that bullet skipped right across his eyebrow. When I asked him afterwards on the way back to town, I asked him, so were you looking at the head or the body? And he says, I don't know.
The bullet grazed right over his ocular socket below his antler. So at that point, I had no real excuse as to what I was doing. Of course, I was staring at his antlers.
I had to remind him that everybody misses. I miss, his dad misses. End of story. But the next day, Natalie Hill was coming in to start her hunt. Hunter needed to take a back seat for a few days. He understood it, that he'd had his chance, and now he needed to give us a few days to take Natalie hunting. Follow Steve's Outdoor Adventures on Facebook and Twitter and keep up with all the action, as well as find out about some great giveaways that we have throughout the year.
Muzzleloaders.com. Biggest selection, best prices, fast shipping.
This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures is brought to you by ScopeCoat.com. I personally protect my rifle scope and valuable optics with ScopeCoat.
Well, I have osteosarcoma, which is a bone cancer. I was diagnosed when I was 14, right before my freshman year of high school. And I went through chemo and all that, and I lost part of my leg because it's a kind of cancer you have to cut out to get rid of it, so otherwise it's always going to be there. And I've had multiple reoccurrences, and actually my doctors say I'm terminal, but I'm not going to let that stop me or anything. Like when I first found out I was sick, I was like, this can't be right. This doesn't happen to people. This isn't real. But after a while, reality sunk in, and it was really hard. The hardest part was the not being able to play sports.
Natalie's always been into like team sports and stuff like that. Well, she really can't be in them team sports anymore. She probably could be. Yeah, Natalie's determination is, she's bullheaded like her mom, I guess I'll say, and she's got a lot of get up and go. There's no quit, Natalie.
Growing up in Coos Bay, there's not like really a whole lot to do except for like be in the outdoors, really, like go out to the beach, go ride at the dunes, go in the mountains. Yeah, there's a lot of memories that being like hunting and outdoors and stuff that have like really good memories and stuff that are really powerful.
When I first found out about this hunt with Steve, I was pretty much ecstatic. And I told Natalie about it, and of course we liked to hunt. Natalie was excited about it.
I was really excited. Like, I was kind of nervous because I knew I was going to be on a TV show, and it was just like, oh, that's kind of scary. Like, what if I miss? But it was a lot of excitement, and my dad was really excited. And
Jeff was, of course, more excited because he knew who Steve West was. But you know, and once he showed me, I was really excited.
I think a lot of it just means like time with my dad and stuff. Like, that's kind of how me and my dad bond the most. And so I think that's a really big aspect of why I like to hunt, is just the bond with my dad. And I just love being like out indoors and like being in the mountains and like seeing a lot of the world that most people who don't hunt, like they don't get to see that. There's just a lot of memories of being in the outdoors and being at the beach and doing that kind of stuff. I'm getting ready to go on my elk hunt with Steve's Outdoor Adventures.
On that first hunt, I really needed to assess what Natalie's capabilities were. I needed to know if she could walk. I'd heard she played in a basketball game, but can she walk 100 yards, a mile? I had no idea. But I can promise you this, by the end of that first hunt, I realized that she was tougher than most boys, and I've seen full-grown men on big game hunts with me that couldn't keep up nearly as well as she did. She had more guts, determination, and moxie than a lot of men that I've taken into the field. And she had my respect.
Camo Restore. Innovative wash for your outerwear. Burris Optics. And their no questions asked, forever warranty. Steve hosts these hunts on the Ponderosa Ranch, located in the Mount Emily unit of Northeast Oregon's Blue Mountains, in the heart of Oregon's best elk country.
About mid-morning, we finally caught up with a herd that had been on the move, bugling and carrying on. It had been a chase. We walked and walked.
We ended up walking for like a long ways and stuff, and we could hear the bulls and stuff in the timber bugling and hitting on trees and everything. And so we're just like following all these sounds and just kind of where we think they're going. And it had a couple of times I was up on shooting sticks and I get kind of a window at a bull and then it disappear like behind a tree or something, and we move up more and just try to get closer. So we're just trying to figure out where they're at. At times I was like, oh, I got a little tired, but I'm like, gotta keep trekking, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna get it done. And it was all worth it, completely, 100%.
When I got a fix on the herd bull and started to follow him, I knew where he was going to bed for the day. He was pushing his cows toward these thickets on the other side of the ridge. There's water in there, it's cool, it's a great place to spend the day. And I took a gamble. I tried to get us out in front of him. I knew that Natalie was all in, and my ambush was just a little bit late. As we got there, they were crossing the ridge in front of us. So we set up, and I decided to see if I could try and call him off. By the grace of God, I got that bull's attention. He came right to us.
I was sitting on the ground. I didn't see the bull at first, and they're like, oh, it's right there. It's when I can't see it because I'm lower than everybody else. And finally, I just see the horns coming up over the little hill, and I was like, ah, it was really intense.
Probably one of my fondest memories in elk hunting is watching that bull as he was in the shadows step into the light. I'll remember that for as long as I live.
As the elk filtered out, I told Natalie that, hey, we need to wait for that bull to clear the cows, and we also want to wait for him to turn broadside. Her response back to me was, I got this.
Oh my! Reload! You dropped him right in his trap. Wait. Reload. He's right.
Well, after I shot him, I was kind of like, is he dead? Like, I was just like, did it hit him? It was like John was sitting behind me, and I just started laughing as hard as I could because I worked really hard for that bull. We walked miles and miles, and I hunted for days, and so that's was really a big thing for me because I did a lot that I usually wouldn't do, and so it was just, I worked so hard for it, so it makes it that much more special.
For 1 minute, maybe even 1 hour, we weren't there with a 16-year-old girl with cancer, a missing leg or anything. We were just 3 hunters standing around an amazing 6-point bull. I got on the cell phone and I asked Chase and Hunter if they would bring her parents out to where we were at. And when they rolled up, obviously it became a pretty emotional thing for her parents.
Very emotional. And I can relate to that. I mean, it's, I have a child that's kind of been in that same predicament all along. And, as a parent, you try and help them through those predicaments, but these type of battles are battles that they have to fight on their own. All you get to do is give the moral support, the financial support, and do what you can to help them mentally prepare themselves for the next challenge.
That's awesome. Holy crap, Billy.
You gotta wait till you see the video. The video is better yet. I mean, the adventure's amazing.
It felt really good to know that I wasn't letting me being sick stop me, and I was stronger than that.
Natalie was an absolute sweetheart. She was a great girl. She worked extremely hard. to not let what she had limit her. And it was really, really inspiring to see somebody with that limitation do what she did.
Look for the new Steve's Outdoor Adventures app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or tablet so that you can watch videos or book your next big game hunt.
Muzzleloaders.com. Biggest selection, best prices, fast shipping. Steve's Outdoor Adventures is sponsored by Burris Optics. Find what matters. CVA, it's just a better gun. Bergara, a passion for precision. Steiner Binoculars. Camo Restore, innovative wash for your outerwear. And by the new DeLorme InReach SE and Explorer. Stay safe, stay in touch, stay in reach.
If you'd like to book your own guided big game hunting adventure, give my office a call. I will personally take your calls, answer your questions, and help you book the hunting or fishing trip of a lifetime. Once we had Natalie's bull and the tag was cut and we hauled it into town and put it in the freezer, man, Hunter was fired up because not only was it his turn again, but we were even further into the peak of the rut. I mean, the elk hunting was literally getting better every single day. And of course, he was having dreams about his chance for redemption on the bull that we call Super 7. We took off at a cautious but fairly rapid pace. I needed to get us to Middle Meadow. This is where the bulls really like to be at night. And just as we came across the top of Middle Meadow, I looked down and I started seeing cows show up. Hunter got down in his shooting sticks and we got set up.
There was no doubt that it was him. This is a very distinctive bull. When I saw him, Hunter had already seen him, but he wasn't talking. We were still over 300 yards away when we initially saw him. And Hunter had already made up his mind. I heard the safety go off on the gun twice, and that's on his own. Steve and I hadn't even talked to him yet. Finally, he pushes all these cows out, and he disappears into the trees, and we're thinking that this is over. Steve bugled at him a few times, and I'll be darned if this bull didn't come back on a dead run.
After he walked off into the trees with his cows, Steve really laid on the calling. I mean, he was cow calling, bugling, doing anything he could do to get anybody's attention. And luckily he did, which I'm very thankful for. He hooked two of his back cows who came back out into the meadow perfectly in front of us, right where we were standing. And we're all looking through, I'm looking through my scope, my dad's looking through binoculars, Steve's looking through binoculars. And we're sitting there waiting, and pretty soon I hear Steve whisper, "He's coming out."
I still remember to this day Steve telling Hunter, hammer him.
Here he comes right there. Hammer him.
Hit him, you hit him. You got him with that one.
Watch him.
I'm on him.
I did not make the same mistake twice.
They do not hump up like that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. After I'd taken the shot, Steve decided to stay back to mark where that bull had ran. Me and my dad walked up to where that area was. We wanted to look for blood and maybe anything to give us an idea on where he went.
I think it's safe to say that they found the bull down here.
There's no way to describe how special it was with my dad. I mean, thanks to my dad, I'm the way I am. He's the one that took me in the woods when I was younger, even when things weren't good. He's always been there as my best friend in the woods and the one person I know will be there to help me. And it is by far my best memory I have with my father, and it will be till the day I die. I never hit the antler.
That was the best possible way that I could have ever capped 2 years of hunting elk with some of the most memorable kids I've ever been in the field with. Professionally, I book hunts for people with some of the best outfitters and guides on some of the most amazing private ranches across North America or around the world. But this place is reserved for kids who have terminal illnesses and wounded warriors and we do our best to try and get tags for as many of them as we possibly can. Let these kids be an inspiration to you to get out there and show them. You don't have to accept defeat. Get out here and live for the days that you've got, and let me help you make the most of them, because I'll do everything I can to make those memories last forever. Hunter Postian is still alive and well today. He lives right here in La Grande, Oregon, and I see him on a regular basis. In fact, he and his dad come up and pay us a visit every once in a while, and I always look forward to our chats and reflections on this hunt. Hunter works at the local Legacy Ford dealership in customer service and is pursuing his degree at Eastern Oregon University in wildlife biology. He looks forward to someday being a wildlife biologist, just like his dad. Natalie Hill.
For me, growing up with this, I have one very special statement, and I actually came up with it when I was 10 years old, 2 days before I got my heart transplant. A nurse asked me how I was dealing so well with all this, and my response was, life, it's the hand you're dealt, and your choice to play or fold. So nothing limits you besides your own personality and how much you're willing to work.